Look at this bad boy. Cannot wait to dive into this. So today I made myself some scones, and I feel like I deserve these today because it's been a good week of training and I feel like I've burnt a lot of calories. I've been on top of my diet, so it's a nice little treat at the end of the week. So these are English scones which have been made with raisins that have been soaked in Cornish tea. The jam is actually homemade as well. So I made this with strawberries, lemon juice, vanilla pod and sugar, obviously. But yeah, it's been a good week of training. So what you would have just seen was my deadlift session. I worked up to 250 kilos, which I was really happy with. So yeah, it's been a good week of training. So I'm going to top it off with a little sweet treat. But anyway, let's move on to the main portion of the video, and that is to talk about July's reading wrap up. So as always, I hope you guys have had a good month of reading. For me, it has been not as prolific, and there is a reason for that, and that main reason is because I am currently reading a lot of books. So obviously I haven't finished as many, but some of the books that I have finished have been really, really good reads, and some of my favourite books of the year so far, one of which is a short story, so I'll go through that. But kicking things off, I'll go through the first book that I finished in July, and that is Doomadgee by Stephen King. That's once I've had a bit more scone. So Doomadgee by Stephen King, unfortunately I've had a little bit of a string of books that I haven't really enjoyed by Stephen King, which is really annoying because I really love his books, but I've had about 3 or 4 on the bounce now where I feel like they've been pretty average. So this one is based off of a character called Edgar Freemantle, who gets in a pretty horrific, I think, car crash, and it really changes his life. He has to have some amputations, so he's sort of getting phantom limb syndrome, where he's sort of scratching his arm but ends up actually scratching his ribs because he sort of forgets that he doesn't have an arm. He's going through a pretty bad divorce, I think, so he's not with his wife anymore. He doesn't see his kids quite as much, so he decides to escape to Florida, and specifically Doomadgee, to reinvent himself essentially. And when he is there, he starts painting. So he's really good at painting. He really gets into that. So he starts meeting art galleries to sort of discuss his paintings and things like that. But as the story progresses, you start realizing that he can actually manifest things from his painting. So that's kind of the premise of the story. And me explaining it like that sounds like it is a pretty good story, but for me, it's just really, really long and takes so long to get to sort of the exciting part of the book. And even when it got there, I just feel like it fell pretty flat. So there was a character called Wyman, so his relationship with Wyman, so Fremantle's and Wyman, was pretty good, but it was just very sort of repetitive and quite long. Maybe I just wasn't being very patient with this one, but yeah, overall didn't massively enjoy it. I'm going to be, or I am currently reading another Stephen King book at the moment in preparation for his new release in October, and fingers crossed, so far so good. So it does get a little bit more positive for the rest of July. So I read a short story which absolutely blew me away, and that is Foster by Claire Keegan. So I picked this one up when I went to a really nice little cafe slash bookshop. So it's a cafe which sells books, and I spoke to the owner and talked to him about the book, and he absolutely loved it. So I thought, yep, I'm absolutely getting this, because I have seen it reviewed on Bookstagram and things like that as well. It's a very short story, so I literally read this in one sitting, pretty much the day I got it. I think I literally went to the pub in the evening because I think Lois was busy, and I read it in one sitting. So it was absolutely amazing, and yeah, it did absolutely blow me away. So the premise of the book is it's about a young girl who lives in a pretty chaotic family household with her sort of 6 or 7 siblings. Mum and dad aren't very present, so she goes to stay with, I think it's an uncle and auntie, or at least a family member, in a rural part of Ireland. And for the first time, she discovers what it is like to be truly listened to, truly loved, and just appreciated. And it's a really wholesome, heartfelt, human book about what it is to be appreciated and actually have real love. It's actually very sad as well, because it delves into sort of grief as well, and loss for people that don't have children, and when they sort of find a child that they feel like they could have been their own and things like that. It's just very sad, very heartfelt, and yeah, the ending like literally floored me. I was in the pub having my second pint of San Miguel, and I was nearly crying. So there you go, Claire Keegan, Foster, short story, but absolutely amazing and massively recommend. So next up is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I actually started reading this one at the very beginning of July. No, it wasn't at the beginning of July. I actually began reading this one in May when I was going on my stag do, because I remember reading it while I was in the aeroplane, but for whatever reason I put it down and I picked it up again this month, and I'm glad I did, because it is it definitely is the best book that I've read by Cormac McCarthy. I've only read 2 of his books. So I've read this and Blood Meridian. Blood Meridian is a fantastic book, but it's absolutely brutal. This book, I feel like there's a lot more emotion attached to it. His writing prose is very similar to Blood Meridian. His writing style is very similar, but still really good. And I feel like the story flowed a little bit more than Blood Meridian. I feel like Blood Meridian was just relentless violence. This isn't that. There's a genuine connection between the father and son. So the story is based off of father and son who are walking a road in America, trying to find the ocean, trying to find a better place, because the city, the whole of America, has basically blown up. It's post-apocalyptic, very dystopian, and they're just walking, trying to find something, trying to make sense of what is going on in their world. And it's just about how the father is cultivating his son to prepare him for when he basically isn't there anymore. So that is the whole premise of the book. They run into lots of nefarious individuals and are sort of met with a lot of conflict, sort of explores that a little bit. But yeah, just a really, really good book, and just a very sad book. And I've actually recently watched the film, and I was pleasantly surprised with how good the adaptation was as well. So I'd actually recommend watching the film as well. But yeah, massively recommend this one as well. And yeah, 2 out of 3 good reads this month. Claire Keegan's Foster and The Road, really good. It's just let down a little bit by Dune McKee. But yeah, managed to only read 3 books this month, because I'm actually currently reading a lot of books at the moment, so it has meant that my focus has been on more of that rather than finishing some of these ones. But yeah, I'll go through my current reading now, because there are some absolute bangers in there at the moment. So I might as well go straight into the Stephen King book that I'm currently reading, and I'm not actually reading this one, although I have the physical copy which I picked up for 50p in a charity shop. I'm actually listening to this one on audiobook. So that is Black House by Stephen King and Peter Straub. So Peter Straub, I can never say his name right. So they have obviously written a book previously to this, and that is The Talisman. I have read that one, currently listening to this one in preparation for Other Worlds Than These, which is coming out in October. Very excited for that. I wasn't massively enamoured by The Talisman, but I am 62% of the way through this one, so probably roughly that far into it, and I'm absolutely loving the audiobook at the moment. The strange thing is, it isn't massively different to The Talisman. Obviously a lot of the characters are still in there. I just feel like the structure of the book is a lot more gripping. It's a little bit more crime focused, whereas it's a little bit more fantasy based in The Talisman. So I'm liking that aspect of it. And I feel like, although it is a bit of a slow burn, and it's now approaching the sort of, I'm not going to say the climax of the book because it's only 62% of the way in, but it's starting to build momentum, and I'm really kind of enjoying it. And I think what I like in particular is there is a lot of very direct Dark Tower references to it. The Crimson King is mentioned into it, and I think mainly the Crimson King has mentioned it, but the Dark Tower is, yeah, how could I miss that? The Dark Tower is directly discussed in it, and sort of the bed of roses and things like that. So yeah, it's just really interesting, because Stephen King has said that the territories, which is kind of the other world, is pretty much another word for, or another name for, Midworld in the Dark Tower series. So I love the tie-ins that this book has with that. It has brought me back to reading the Dark Tower series, and yeah, it's just setting me up really nicely for the book that's going to come out in October. So I think part of me is just feeling quite giddy and excited for that book in October, and knowing that I'll finally get around to finishing the what was the duo, now it's going to be the trilogy. So yeah, it's really good so far, and looking forward to finishing this one by the end of, hopefully the end of next week. So next up, I am reading Everyone's Still Here by Lidan Ní Chua. I don't know if I've said that right. She's an Irish author. She is a debutant author, so this is her first book, and it's actually a collection of short stories. And I've read the first few, and I'll be honest, they haven't massively gripped me. So I say that I'm currently reading this, but it's one of those that I think I'm probably gonna put back on the shelf for a little while, because it's short stories, you can dip in and out of them. So I've kind of read a few, they've been alright. So I might dip in kind of when I want to just read a really short, sort of 10-15 page short story. So yeah, it's okay, but it's nothing mind-blowing. So next up is Hyperion by Dan Simmons, and this has been on my list of books to read for a long time, because I originally wanted to read Summer of Nights and The Terror by Dan Simmons, but I picked this one up just because it's been advertised a lot. I've seen it in bookshops all the time, so I thought I'd give this one a go first. And it's nothing like what I thought it was going to be like. I thought it was just going to be a deep fantasy book based in a world. There's going to be a lot of action and things like that, but it's not really anything like that. It's kind of lots of tales brought into one. So it's about a group of individuals that are traveling to Hyperion to meet the Shrike, which is an entity, some sort of deity essentially, and they're all traveling there for different reasons, I believe, and you're kind of hearing all of their different stories as to what's brought them to the here and now. So that's kind of what the whole book is. It is just seeing everyone's different perspectives. So there's a couple of sort of good stories within there. The one that I liked in particular was someone discussing their daughter who was actually starting to age backwards. That was a very good story. Some of the other ones are a little bit forgetful, I can't really remember them. But the one that I'm currently reading is about an AI who has been assassinated, or someone that tried to assassinate him. That's quite interesting. I haven't actually picked this one up for a little while, so I need to refresh my memory on everything. It's been a couple of weeks actually since I picked this one up, so I need to sort of get back into it, because I am close to finishing it. So yeah, I'll get back into reading it soon. But yeah, it's enjoyable, but it's nothing like what I thought it was going to be when I first picked it up. So another book that I'm currently reading is The Dark Forest by Cixin Liu. This is the second book in the three-body problem. I'll be honest, I am kind of struggling to wrap my head around these books at the moment. So I read The Three-Body Problem and I did really enjoy it, but I kind of came away from it being a little bit more confused than anything else. It's a really good sci-fi book with a big focus on the science side of it. Really, really good, but just you kind of think, wait, have I actually understood that correctly? And when you go back, you're like, no, I have. It's just a little bit mental. So that book is kind of based off of scientists that have discovered another civilization light years away that are basically now coming to try to destroy Earth. But there's some people that are willing that on because they hate humanity, and there's obviously some people that are not wanting that to happen. That is the basic premise of The Three-Body Problem, and there's lots of other science fiction thrown in and other little bits thrown in there with lots of different complex characters. And The Dark Forest is now a little bit further on, where they're basically trying to prevent all of that from happening. And that's kind of where I'm up to in the book. I'm not quite sure where the Dark Forest comes into it, but currently the main character is in a forest with his companion. So that's kind of where I'm at with this book. It is a little bit confusing. I'm trying to wrap my head around it a little bit, but maybe I'll be able to talk about it a little bit more once I've figured it out. But I am enjoying it. Even though I'm not understanding it, I am enjoying it. Make that make sense? So next up, a book that I've only just started, and one that I have been looking forward to read for a very long time. And so far so good. I'm only sort of 30 pages in, but I am enjoying it, and that is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. So I've actually heard a lot of really good things about The Handmaid's Tale. It's obviously a TV series as well, but I've actually heard more about the second book, which is The Testaments, but I thought to be able to get to The Testaments, I need to read The Handmaid's Tale. It's a dystopian book. I don't really know a huge amount about it. I tend not to read the back of books or the blurb too much, because I kind of like going into books a little bit blind. But I believe the premise is that an organization or a group of people basically own the breeding rights of a group of women. I essentially think that is what it is about. So very sort of dystopian. There's some talk about sort of wars going on at the moment, but the city of Gilead, or the Republic of Gilead, is kind of secluded away from that war. I don't know if that's true or if that's just a metaphor within the book, but that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I'm kind of just being introduced to the characters at the moment because it's very early on, so I'll be able to talk a little bit more about this when I've delved into it a little bit more. But so far so good, and I'm looking forward to getting it finished, so then I can also then move on to the next book, The Testaments. Oh yeah, so I nearly forgot, I'm also listening to The Buffalo Hunter Hunter. So I got this in hardback a couple of years ago because I'd heard a lot about it, and also just the front cover looks awesome. Didn't really know anything about it, but I actually listened to someone on Instagram, a bookstagrammer, I can't remember his name, but he was basically saying that this book is really, really good in Audible form or audiobook form. So I actually have purchased the audiobook as well, and I am currently listening to it alongside reading it. So I read the first few pages and then switched to audiobook, and I will probably go back and forth a little bit. So I've actually got 2 audiobooks on the go at the moment. So I've got Black House by Stephen King and this one, but Black House I generally listen to on my way to work, and this one is when I'm just having a bit of downtime and just kind of chilling then, and I might want to listen to an audiobook, then I'll be listening to this one. So don't really know a huge amount about it. I do know it is based in kind of like around about the 1900s, I believe, where it kind of goes back to present day and back to the 1900s, where someone is looking back to their granddad and what they got up to in that era. And then they start discovering some secrets, I believe. And it's actually a vampire book, which I didn't realise at all. I thought it was just to do with like buffalo hunting back in the day in America, but it's actually to do with vampires. So really intrigued to sort of go into this a little bit more. Stephen Graham Jones is obviously a very good horror writer. The Only Good Indians, I believe, is the other book that he's read. That's another one that I want to wrote. That's another one that I want to read. So yeah, eventually I'll get around to reading that as well. But yeah, listen to this one at the moment as well. And yeah, only a few pages in, but really enjoyable. So yeah, gone a wee bit mad on the old current reading list at the moment. So it's going to take me a little while to get through all of these because obviously I can't read them all at the exact same time, but hopefully I can get through them reasonably quickly and then hopefully have most of these finished by the end of August. And let me just check my Goodreads just to make sure that I'm not actually reading anything else. No, that is it. I can confirm. Alright, so before I finish the video, I thought I would open up some of my Waterstone purchases and show you exactly what I've got, although I already have mentioned what they are. First up, The Testaments by I was going to say Maggie Atwood. It's Margaret Atwood. I don't know her that well. But yeah, once I've read Handmaid's Tale, look forward to diving into this one. On to the next one. Oh, damn. It's a thickums. I didn't realise it was as thick as that. So this is the final book in the 3-body problem, Death's End. And I absolutely hate that it's got the Netflix sticker. It's not even a sticker. You can't get rid of it. I hate when they put them on there, but yeah, I'll get over it. So yeah, hopefully by the time I actually get to this book, I'll have a little bit more of a clue with what's actually going on in the 3-body problem series. And then the final book that I bought is actually a non-fiction book, I believe, and that is Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. Yeah. So I believe this story is about a man called Chris McCandless. What a name that is. That's not Candleless. Chris McCandless. Like, as in he doesn't have any candles, but he's Scottish. I shouldn't joke, this man actually died. So Chris McCandless, he sets off to Alaska in 1992, and I believe it kind of follows his story about what happens when he gets there. So I think he just kind of escapes into Alaska and then unfortunately dies while he is there. And I think it kind of follows some of his records of while he was in the wilderness in Alaska. And I've just heard it's a really profound book and quite poignant. So yeah, I look forward to getting around to this at some point. It's not a very long book, so I could potentially get into this at some point in August. yeah, it's just a bit of a non-fiction read. It's not something I'd normally read, but I've just heard really good things about it, so I thought, why not? Right, I'm going to finish off this scone and then head up to bed. So going to wrap up the video there. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned. Let me know what you're currently reading. Yeah, leave a comment down below. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.